Insights that don't drive cross-functional work die in email. It's quite simple. If patient advocacy is not able to have an impact on other functions within the company, what good are you? Any of the success that you've had is not recognized by any other department because, in many circumstances, you either haven't been working together or you haven't been allowed to work together, which is even worse. I challenge you to make sure you're working across functions in your departments. I challenge you to break down those silos and work cross functionally, and you will watch your patient advocacy function and your engagement with the patient community flourish. At ARCO, we know that the advocacy function is best executed when it's integrated within all departments and divisions. The advocacy function never should be sitting on its own, doing work that only it knows or that is only directed by advocacy. Many times, we unfortunately have even heard that the advocacy work is driven by commercial needs, which doesn't make any sense because advocacy by law cannot be commercially driven. It has to be non branded. So, why push from a commercial perspective for the advocacy function to focus on commercial needs? That just makes no sense. But 'tis the way of the world. And the problem lies in the fact that most other departments and divisions don't understand what the advocacy function does. So it gets relegated like everything else that no one knows what it does to the dustbin. Unfortunately, as we look at the last 18 months, countless members of patient advocacy functions have been let go. We're talking about not just mediocre patient advocacy functions. We're talking in some cases the very best of the best comes to oncology patient advocacy or ophthalmology patient advocacy or even your autoimmune condition patient advocacy functions. Top earners within the ARCO Advocacy Intelligence Report, whole teams being let go. Why? The rest of the company was not aware of the work that was being done by that function or the impact of doing it in the first place. If your work is not being shared or integrated in other functions, expect it to disappear. Our job in patient advocacy is not just to focus on the needs of the patient, it's also to bring the needs of the patient to every department and division within our company. It's to drive the patient voice and the patient's lived experiences into everything being done in different departments. It's our job to be the voice of the patient in the meetings that they can't attend. It's our job to bring the real world scenarios patients face into every element of drug development to commercialization to post commercialization when that product is no longer front and center, even in your company. Patient advocacy should be there from cradle of a product to grave, helping to ensure that every patient that deserves your product or needs your product gets access to that product. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is that most advocacy functions don't market that which they do to other divisions and departments in their company. They die in the darkness. The program that they put on to focus on social determinants of health in patients' access to transportation, to get to specialist appointments, or to get to the pharmacy, to ensure that new prescription for that new product that your company launched was actually viable, ended up becoming nothing because no one was told about it. No one was involved. The impact or the need of the patient was never appropriately talked about outside of the advocacy function. That's why we are so adamant at ARCO that when you engage with us and you're gathering insights through our Elevate Advocacy Intelligence Report, that we also put together and work with you on a plan to ensure that the rest of the organization, all of the departments that you've either touched historically or wished you would have an understanding not only of what your team looks like at this particular snapshot in time, what the needs are of your patient community, what you wish you could do better but need assistance from those different departments in doing, and of course, the needs of the patient community to maximize the impact back to your company. At the end of the day, we all are working for a business. If advocacy cannot align with each of the different departments and divisions and show them how engaging the patient community helps them achieve their goals, then we don't deserve our jobs. That's our role. We are here to guide the rest of our company to the needs of the people that we wish to serve, the patient community. And guess what? Every single person at some point is going to be a patient. That includes you, it includes me. So that means hearing everyone, sharing the needs of everyone. And yes, when you have a diagnosis and now you're running into new issues, it's on us as advocates and those working in patient advocacy functions to share those needs with our commercial counterparts, with our market access counterparts, with our drug development and R&D teams, with the medical science liaisons that are out in the field communicating with KOLs, key opinion leaders. They don't know what they don't know. And shame on us for not shouting from the rooftops about the importance of patient advocacy. There's one thing I can guarantee you is that if you work with ARCO, it's our job to help you shout from the rooftops. Bring us in to be that voice of reason. Bring us in to say the things that maybe you aren't allowed to say within your own company because it might be quote unquote taboo for you to say it or against compliance for you to say it. We as consultants outside of your company are able to utilize our 11 years of running this research to be able to bring truth to life for your company and ensure that every department understands the opportunity that exists in that patient advocacy function if we can only get them to listen. That's what it comes down to. And we've seen this, unfortunately, collapse teams. Most recently, as referenced with a very large patient advocacy function in oncology. In fact, the number one product in oncology and the number one patient advocacy function in oncology was just completely let go because their organization put them in a silo. You called on them when they felt they were necessary, and they didn't feel comfortable pushing outside of the box that they were put in. The same can be said on the flip side of this, though, as well. When you have a biotech company recently purchased and acquired by another large pharma company because they put patient advocacy at the top of their pyramid, at the top of their organizational alignment, not under government affairs or comms, but those roles leading into patient advocacy. Having an actual chief patient officer able to speak to the value of engaging patient advocacy organizations and professional societies and community-based organizations. Not only did it lead to better outcomes for their patients and better outcomes for their business, it led to them achieving a buyout that was completely unknown or thought to have been a number in play. But because they had the voice of the patient, because their organization was patient-centric, something that has gone by the wayside since its inception in 2009, a truly patient-centric organization. That particular biotech company's both shareholders and employees are able to reap the benefits of that success. It's our job as advocates, as those working to engage the patient community, to share the value of working alongside of patients, to help tear down the curtain that keeps us separated from patients and helps all of our coworkers in different departments understand the value of the patient's voice and the patient's lived experience. Because unfortunately, if we're not able to do that work and get the resources that we need and get the respect that we need for both ourselves and patient advocacy, but also the voice of the patient itself, then when one of those departments, market access, commercial, you name it, actually needs the assistance of the patient community, you'll have no one left to call because those relationships were never able to flourish. Again, insights that don't drive cross-functional engagement and cross-functional work will die in an email. Don't allow your team to die on the sidelines. Push patient advocacy and the patient voice into the DNA of your company and watch its success take off.